Rise and shine. Time to set those lineups on Fantasy Football Today Express. And what's going on? We got a lot of injury news to update you on. This is crazy. Wow. Let's start with the Colts, Heath. They're playing the Titans, and like everyone's playing except for Jonathan Taylor. But Richardson looks like he's going to play. Michael Pittman, I thought maybe he'd go on IR. He's going to play. Josh Downs was seemingly not going to play. He's looking like he's going to play. But Jonathan Taylor out. So who do you like on the Colts this week against Tennessee?
Like might be a strong word. Titans are a very, very good defense. Downs is my favorite wide receiver. He's a borderline number 2, high-end number 3 wide receiver. I'm still a little bit iffy on Pittman and how healthy he is because they were talking about maybe putting him on IR. Pittman is more of a flex. I would view Trey Sermon as kind of the same position at running back that Downs is at wide receiver, a high-end flex, low-end number 2. Richardson is that extremely high upside QB2. You can't put him as a QB1 because of how bad things have been lately.
If we look at Jalen Tolbert against the Lions and Darius Slayton against the Bengals, they are the two most added players other than the Eagles DST. So it might be a good idea to compare like Josh Downs to Tolbert and Slayton.
So I would go Downs, Tolbert, Slayton.
Oh, wow. I think I'd have Downs last there just with Anthony Richardson playing and with his injury, but okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's good appeal to Downs. Brian Robinson Jr. is out. How are we feeling about Ekeler and Jeremy McNichols at Baltimore?
I would expect a committee, and this is obviously a much better run defense than they are a pass defense, so don't get too over your skis, but I would start Austin Ekeler over Trey Sermon. Ekeler is a low-end RB2. McNichols is a high-end flex.
Trey Tucker could have an expanded role today. He's actually on the most dropped list. He's now 37% rostered, but we've got no Jacoby Myers, or at least he's doubtful. So I'm going to skip that one so we can get to other ones. But excuse me, but
not a bad ad.
Not a bad ad. No, 2 Chicago defensive backs are going to be out against the Jaguars this morning in London. Evan Ingram expected to play. David Njoku's looking like he's going to play. Are you going to start these guys?
I mean, if I have literally anyone at tight end that I want to start, no. But Ingram is barely a top 12 tight end. Njoku just outside of the top 12, I think around tight end 15. I'm not starting them over Kyle Pitts or Dalton Kincaid or Pat Freiermuth or those guys, but they're fine. I'd rather start them than Hunter Henry or Zach Ertz.
Okay, sorry, I'm just getting the inactives in here as I'm taking a look. But I think Ingram is good to go. Anywho, Christian Watson. Let's talk about the Packers. Luckily, this is a 1:00 game. But Christian Watson, I thought he'd be out for multiple weeks. He might play this week. What are you going to do if he plays? How does that change anything for you?
I'm starting Jaden Reed no matter who plays. Right now, Dontavian Wicks is kind of a boom-bust number 3, and Romeo Doubs is a boom-bust flex. I would downgrade them, but they'd probably still be my 2 next favorite wide receivers. I'm not starting Watson, but I'd like to add him and put him on the bench. All
right, we got Ramondre Stevenson out. How would you compare Antonio Gibson to the Commanders running backs?
So I'm like way over my skis on Antonio Gibson, but this has been the one thing the Patriots have been able to do is move the ball on the ground. And I think Gibson's going to get 20 touches in this game. So he's ahead of all of the replacement running backs that we've talked about. He's a high-end RB2, low-end RB1 for me this week.
Let me check his roster percentage. I'll do that in a minute. Evan Ingram is active, by the way. Are you trusting Joe Mixon this week? He's looking like he's going to play in that game against the Patriots. The Patriots have been terrible against running backs.
If Joe Mixon starts for the Texans, Joe Mixon's starting for my fantasy football team.
Over Antonio Gibson?
I have them back to back. I think I actually have Gibson 1 spot higher.
Gibson is 70% roster. Take a look, see if he's available in your leagues. Devin Singletary is out. Both Bengals running backs look like they're going to play tonight. Giants at Bengals. How would you rank Tyrone, Tracy, Zach Moss, Chase Brown?
I would go Tyrone Tracy first, then Chase Brown, then Zach Moss. Tracy is a top 20 back. Moss and Brown and Moss are borderline RB2s.
Tracy or Gibson?
I would go Gibson.
Okay. Denver activated running back Audric Estime. So you can, if you want to stash him. James Cook is expected to play. it's tough. It's Monday night, but I'm sure you have a lot of James Cook. Are you just starting him?
Well, not entirely. I think it's a really tough choice. If you have him, I'd probably just start Josh Jacobs over him. I'd probably just start DeAndre Swift this morning over him. I have a really tough decision between him and Tyrone Tracy. Because I do think it's not just like he might be a little bit more limited, or he might stub that toe again and have to come out of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We have a few more injuries to get to here, and we'll try to save time for your questions. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, a few more notes here. Khalil Shakir is questionable. Are you ranking Khalil Shakir?
We are expecting Khalil Shakir to play. Okay. He is wide receiver 45-ish.
Okay. Rashad White is out. I haven't talked about this one yet. Bucky Irving to the moon.
I think this one's really interesting. I've got him as a low-end RB2. I'm right behind Tyrone Tracy. The difference being that we had concerns if Bucky Irving would ever be like a full-time running back in the NFL. And so I don't know. I think we'll probably see a little more Sean Tucker than we have so far this season. I don't know that they'll throw to him as much as they have to White. So I'm not quite to the moon, but I'm good with starting Irving. I'd rather start him than Austin Ekeler or either of the Bengals or Tracy Sermon.
Okay. What about Alexander Madison? Where do you have him with Zamir White likely out?
He is between Brown and Moss for me, RB29, behind Bucky and Tracy and Gibson.
Jalen Warren is back. You could stash him. Gus Edwards is on IR, and if you're looking for someone to stash, Kamani Vidal. Yeah, we know J.K. Dobbins' history. Kamani Vidal, I think it's pronounced Vidal, but Vidal. You can check him out. Let's see. We have a few minutes for questions here. Tucker Kraft or Jake Ferguson?
So I think they might be my top two tight ends in the projections. I will go with Ferguson.
Tyrone Tracy or Chris Olave?
Tracy.
Tracy or Dobbins?
I did give Dobbins a little bit of boost. I think he gets a bigger rush share this week, and so I would go Dobbins over Tracy.
Beat the waiver wire with Juju or Christian Watson rest of season, and would you drop Zach Charbonnet for either of them?
I would drop Zach Charbonnet for Juju.
Let's see. Justin Fields or pick up Dalton or Levis?
I would go with Fields.
Ekeler or wait on James Cook?
Man, that's right in the range where it's really, really tough. I would probably still go with James Cook.
Sermon or Slayton? Half PPR.
Sermon.
Flowers or Wan'Dale Robinson?
I love both of these guys. They're both in my top 20. I will go with Wan'Dale.
Jalen Tolbert or Christian Kirk?
Tolbert.
Chase Brown, Calvin Ridley, Tolbert, Downs. Pick two.
I will go with Chase Brown and Downs.
Okay, and I'm going to finish off with Zach Moss or Chris Olave.
I'm going to go with Zach Moss.
Okay. All right, that is Heath Cummings. I'm Adam Azer. Good luck. We'll talk to you at 9 a.m. on our live stream, 9 to 10, CBS Sports HQ and youtube.com/fantasyfootballtoday. If you missed that, go to youtube.com/fantasyfootballtoday at noon o'clock until 1 p.m. Eastern, and we will see you there. Bye, everyone.